Let's start about my favorite engineering solution. Here, EPLAN, electric P8, Pro Panel, Smart Mount, and SmartWiring. What are the essentials to get you started? So technically, when we start a project in EPLAN, it's fairly easy. All we do when we start a project, we actually work with the essentials. Essentials I identify as my ZW1, ZW9, which is my project template, my basic project. Very important. Talk to your EPLAN team, get a standardization going on so that you have the perfect template. That perfect will allow you to do your first job as quickly as possible, and you will be able to just focus on what you do best, your engineering. Everything else is a lot of things. Device tags, wire numbers, everything can be preset ahead of time. You can preset whether you want your device tags by identifier counter, the NFPA style, same thing for the wire numbers. This can all be preset. So technically, when you look at a schematic page, all you really have to think about is, of course, your plot frame. Do you want one ladder, two ladders? Just describe what this is, distribution, and the page. Now the page you can see is a little bit more complex in my case, because why? I have decided here to actually use a concept. My wire colors are of course here by the Canadian code, but let's talk about the devices here. I'm using the device concept of IC to identify the location of my device as well as what it is. So technically, when you draw a schematic, right, you draw any kind of schematic here inside this plot frame that can be customized, of course, you will be placing circuits. Now, ideally, these circuits are, of course, standard. Now, you may have different circuits for different purposes, but in general, when you place something like this distribution here, it is very, very similar. Now, the other pages you will be creating, let's say pages like for motors, are very similar. Again, the number one thing is they need some power lines. The number two thing is the circuit itself of your motors themselves. So I'm going to place here one motor for a 3 horsepower motor set. I'm going to place another one. So I want two different here motors, exactly the same. And if I want to, using the tab button, I could also go further down and choose, like with variable frequency drive, a forward reverse, whatever. These are all options that are built in and you can pre-configure it, part of your standardization. Even one step further, you could have created like standard kits, right? Here I have a 1756 Allen Bradley PLC A7 kit. So what this does, it actually comes up with some PLC pages. I don't want to necessarily identify them as PLC, but I would like to add them to the system here, maybe keep one free page between. So let's number them as page 20. So automatically import those drawings as one set. And these are called page macros. So you have like the PLC rack, you have some input, you have some outputs, everything is already there. Of course, you can add. And the idea is very simple. When you have any kind of objects here, I'm just going to cut these coils out because I want to have them right here. You will see something interesting. In EPLAN, we do not draw wires. All we do is we align objects together. And when these objects are aligned with each other, they automatically draw a line. You can also drag and drop objects like this, which makes it very easy, for instance, to add multiple objects. Let's say I take a symbol like a terminal, and I want that terminal to be inserted here. I can just drag and drop and have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 terminals set to TB4. It's very, very actually easy to actually work out. So this could be for your motor number 1, and the other one could be for the motor number 2. We talked about cross-references. Cross-references are also handled by EPLAN automatically. So cross-references depend sometimes on the plot frame because, for instance, here I have a 2-ladder plot frame. So I have two kinds of logic. So I want the cross-reference to appear really close here to my coil. And you can see I have a jump directly here. Another jump I have is this power line that actually comes from the previous page. And this will affect my wire numbering because wire numbering is actually dependent in this particular NFPA case of where the source of the wire is generated. So here we are on line 1746. So down the road, we want that 1746 to continue, right? Perpetual continuation of the signal. EPLAN has that kind of understanding. Of course, for anything else, it also understands if you have two signals on the same line, if these are direct connections between the overload and the relay, they do not get numbered. And whenever you hit a PLC, well, the PLC IO address is transferred, boom, onto the wire. So this is all done automatically. The other thing that we have created is a very smart, intelligent PLC interpretation. On top, we also created the same with terminals. Now, the terminals are, in essence, very simple connections. Now, these simple connections very often are assigned with a part number, and you can simply go here and pick a part number. In this case, I want to pick a terminal, more specifically one from Phoenix Contact. I'm going to use the regular ST6 terminal like this, and this is a pre-assignment I will do for these terminals on this TB4. But what I'm missing are special isolating plates and other items, which with Clipx Engineering, so this is a tool that we worked out together with Phoenix Contact, where you can very quickly pick your terminals and you can have them corrected, right? So remember, every terminal is open on one side, and it requires an isolating plate to actually be absolutely finger safe. This isolating plate is particular to each terminal. Some terminals are bigger, some terminals are smaller. This particular tool was made for you to actually be able to run this autocorrect, and it will tell me automatically what I have to add, whether it's a end clamp or a space or whatever. So it does it actually for me, right? So I can apply these changes and it automatically corrects them. Now, another thing that Phoenix Contact will do with this tool here is they enable us to directly print on the correct label. Now, this is particularly interesting because not every terminal will have the same size of label. Some have 2.5 millimeter labels, some of them have 4 millimeter label, and it's quite complex. So you can actually here print right away to project marking. That's one aspect. And the other aspect is, of course, to ship back this information into EPLAN, which, sorry, it's this time of the year, and shipping back the information to EPLAN so that we can import the data back into EPLAN so we have the perfect digital twin when we place it on the digital twin. Okay, so the next step, of course, once you have done this, is to go directly here into your 3D layout. So this is the beauty, it's all in the same tool. So 2D and 3D are in the same tool. So technically you can go and pick a part number right from here and say, okay, I want to just drag and drop that part in here. It will show up and you just have to place it. Bingo, there it is. Or you could also go and get it from the data portal. Data portal is, of course, one of these parts databases, probably the one that is the most filled, has several different manufacturers, over 460 manufacturers, over 1.5 million parts, and you can choose your part directly from here. That's the interesting thing about the data portal. You do not have to create the data itself. Once you have done this, now you have the option to work on these different predefined surfaces, and you can place objects. Now, this will not only allow me to place it exactly where I want, but it actually takes up exactly the correct space. There we go. I'm going to put in the Ethernet card in that second slot. And then I have two PLC cards, 003, that's this one here. Just place it there again. And finally, and you can see as I place them, they actually disappear. So it's really an easy task. So this guy here, I will pretty much just delete. I may actually display the name here, not on the top outside, but maybe on the left outside 0 corner. And then I will be placing some DIN rails. So the first DIN rail, I'm the second DIN rail down. I'll move it, of course. The one thing that is interesting is you can have a preview of what is connected. That's fine. It's really a nice thing that we can do here. So connection preview. So what that does is it actually gives me an idea of what is connected to it. So here I can see I'm connecting to that A1 object. So I can probably move it there, or this one, because it's very unique. So will this all fit in? I'm confident it does, but it's really going to take a little bit of special treatment, because otherwise I will not be able to handle those, right? So the magic of video is it took me a few seconds to place the rest of the components, figure out how they all fit, and now they can actually route. This is the beauty about how this tool works, is it can actually calculate the wire length. Now, this is the absolute winning solution for you, because once you have the wires in exactly in the proper length, not only can you actually generate all the reports that may be required in one single step here, it's called generate project reports. This will generate everything from a bill of material to a drilling template to a mounting page for the ducts and rails with the exact length. It will actually service everything here. These are now the pages that are part of your documents. So not only did we generate a bill of material, we also generated for each individual step of your fabrication, of your manufacturing, a list for all the ducts and the rails, a detailed view of everything that has to be drilled, an assembly sheet, everything. And of course, the idea at the end of the day is you take this and you export it in such a way that it can be used down on the manufacturing side. We call it the Smart Production Collection. So this generates a project that will now be shared on the production side. So here we switch over to Smart Production. Smart Production is a tool that runs in the background, and this is a tool that can actually be used by anyone inside the network, so electricians that come to this network here, and they just call up the Smart Production Server. Now the Smart Production Server is right there called up. And in this project here, we will set the project that we just created. We will have to create the order. We will see this order here, and we will create the order. So here I am actually creating the job, essential, my job number 1. The order has been successfully loaded. This is perfect. Now we can process, we can log out and call up all the electricians. So I'm going to be now instead the electrician. I just sign in and I open my job. I can look at the job from a rail component perspective. I'm going to jump right away into my connections. So here the connections can be viewed, filtered, organized. So I can actually start by creating all the 18 wire gauge. I can check out every single wire. I can look at the source. I can look at the target. I can see the length exactly of that particular wire. I can see how it's actually routed from here to here. So this process will help me either produce the wire, right, on manually or on a machine. And the idea is as I progress and as I do the installation, I can just confirm. So this is an interactive list that will help me wire by wire, cut the right wire, put the right wire label. Now, what I didn't forget is to tell you that the wires are also generated automatically. So within ePlan, when you have your project here, you can directly take it and export it to marking. This is a process that has been proven to be quite efficient because the engineering spits out the labels, so you don't have to do these labels. Here, the labels are generated automatically. So every label has source, target, and wire number, exactly the same information that actually is here in the SmartWiring. So this is a no-brainer for anyone to actually help us do the wiring. Whether you are an experienced electrician or not an experienced electrician, you can figure out exactly where the connection goes into this device. The length is extremely well calculated. So when we actually calculate the exact route here, we come up with exactly the correct length because this is all prescribed in the 3D model. So very precisely, we know how much length is required. We can see here it's a 24 VDC. We can even go and check out the schematics. For someone that needs it for troubleshooting, he can actually check out the schematics. And if anything goes wrong, he can actually take this wire and say, please lock it down, put some comment down, what is wrong, you know, and the electrician communicates live with this trick here with the engineering team. So nobody else will actually install this wire, and only the electrician will get back to it and unlock it once the errors are corrected. So this is a fantastic collaboration tool also. Plus, at the end of the day, as you move forward, as you progress, right, as you interactively specify which wire was installed from where to where, this progress will be lively monitored. So anyone out there, so it could be the project leader, could be anyone, he could just go in there and check and monitor. So let's say I'm the project leader and I want to see where we are. So knowing the access code, I can log in here and actually look at the monitoring. And the monitoring will give me the different projects that I have. And this essential project here, we can see how far we are with the mount of the devices if we want to use it, and with the wiring itself. It has some material consumption. It has some special comments. We can see here the direct comment that is actually given by the electrician, and it tells me what's wrong so I can correct it. It's absolutely awesome. So really, the ePlan solutions we are providing you here are amazing. Together with Riital, when you put them together, your automation twin, production twin, and product twin, you get the perfect added value. So come and see us. So last but not least is actually how we share that information with others. So we have the EPLAN cloud that has numerous in several individual packages here, and but it also has something interesting, the eManage and the eView. Now the eView is something that can be used to share your project. So exactly what you have here in EPLAN, you can share it up here. So it's fairly easy to actually share your project, your essential. All you have to do here is within the eView, just take that project and upload it into, let's say, a specific folder that may be reserved for one or the other. And I can just upload it here, and then someone can actually view it. Let me show you how it looks like once you uploaded a project. Here as an example, I'm just going to take one here out of the lot and just open it. And you can see the same structure that was originally there with your power supply, all your different pages, the bill of material, the manufacturing pages, reports that we generated for the cuttings of the ducts, for the drilling of the side, of the top, of the backplate, for the assembly of the components. Overview, a detailed cable view of each cable from where it goes. We can have a cable detailed diagram. All this plus the 3D itself, and the 3D has an additional augmented reality option where you can take this and through here the link on this QR code, position that panel in your reality. So see if that panel actually fits somewhere on the machine or inside the panel. This eView is for free, and it also allows special collaboration. So technically, if somebody is inside, let's say the schematics, looks at the schematics or any of those pages and wants to comment them, there is some RedLining options available and some greenlining options available, which will immediately overlay on the engineering tool on ProPanel and EPLAN side on the platform, so you can immediately do the changes. A little bit similar to the Smart Production earlier when we did comment something, it is immediately transferred to the engineering department, so we don't waste any time in the communication. The other thing that is really, really interesting is that every one of these projects that has been uploaded onto, in this case, eManage, to people that you really want to have on your team. So this Start Essentials here, if I want to share it with you, all I have to do here is just say share, and I can specify the person I want to share it with. I can put the external user, and if you actually want to use the RAC, Riital Application Center in Canada, you can send it to rac@eplancanada.com or rac@riital.ca, and this project will be available for the Riital Application Center, so that means they will be able to even print, drill, cut all the holes in your panel before they ship it to you, right? There's another system that is coming to us with this technique here where we might be able to find you some partners to pre-cut all the wires, so you only have to do the installation. This is something that is coming in 2024. This was version 2024 from ePlan Riital. Thank you.